It is a long journey to your success, and you are going to need reminders that help you keep going. That's why in this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 key moments in your life today that you can use as great reminders to help you persevere and be successful in accomplishing your goals. Now, understand, everyone has moments, but good people, they're able to identify their key moments, but the really, really good people, the successful people, they're able to use their key moments. So not only am I going to be sharing with you 3 key moments that exist in your life, I'm going to be telling you the benefit to each of them. And be sure to stick around for the entire episode, because at the end, I'm going to be giving you action steps on how you can really start leveraging those key moments, these great reminders, so that way you can create success for your life. So let's do it. Welcome to the Dream Lifestyle Podcast, where the mission and goal is to help you find your how to your biggest dreams. My name is Trevon Gross Jr., and I'm extremely thankful and excited to have you here because you matter, your dream matters, and I believe in you. And in order for you to make your dream happen, you are going to need reminders. You're going to need the type of reminders that keep you encouraged, the type of reminders that keep you present, the type of reminders that help you keep your faith. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode, where I'm going to be sharing with you 3 key moments that exist in your life that will allow you to keep going. They'll allow you to stay durable. They'll allow you to stay strong as you are going through the journey and the process to your success, because man, the journey is long. The journey is long to your success. Any type of goal that you want, anything that you want in your life, anything that you want to have in your life, anything that you want to do with your life, it's going to require a process. And that process usually is going to come with a cost. And with those costs mean that there's going to be some pruning involved. There's going to be some obstacles that are going to happen, and it's going to require you to become more. And in that becoming, you're going to need the types of reminders, again, that really help keep you focused on the goal at hand. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. So I'm really excited. This episode actually was inspired. I was a guest on another podcast, and I was just sharing my story. And as I was sharing my story, like, I just felt myself getting excited and just reignited a fire within me, just with the mission that I'm on with, helping to fund dreams and really just helping people see that their dream is possible. And so as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, I have to bring this to my podcast just to let people know, like, it's so important to have these types of reminders. So this podcast is going to be a podcast for you, and it's also even a podcast for me, because I've started kind of implementing some of the steps that I'm going to be talking about at the end of the episode, in terms of the action steps on how to really implement and really leverage the key moments in your life. All right. But I want to start off this episode by, again, just a few quick house rules. Do me a favor. If you look in the description link below, you're going to see a link to a dream workbook. If you get that workbook, that will be the start of your process to really getting clear on your how for your goal. You may know what you want to do, but you need to really get clear on your how. And I want to make sure that you are clear on that how, and you're not falling into any of the 5 traps that exist. So be sure to click the link so that way you can get that free dream workbook. It'll get sent right to your email very quickly. So make sure you do that. And that's pretty much it. So let's jump right into the episode. We're talking about 3 key moments. All right. And there's 3 key moments. This is very important. And again, the overall benefit of these key moments, right? Like, when you really identify, again, everyone has moments, but the people that are just kind of living life and just going through life and not actually recalling back and not reflecting back on their past experiences, they don't have a foundation to really lean on when it comes to confidence, when it comes to, just what they've experienced prior that allows them to kind of see what is possible looking forward. When you understand that you have moments and you're able to identify key moments in your life that really inspire change, you allow yourself to figure out, okay, what did I learn in that season? You allow yourself to hold yourself accountable, really, in trying to figure out, okay, well, how did I get in that situation? How did I get myself out of that situation? What did I learn? Who could I rely on during that time in my life, right? You're able to really ask yourself these types of questions when you are able to identify your key moments. But that's only what good people do, right? Because again, there's 2 halves of information. You need to acquire the information, but then you need to actually apply the information. And that's what really successful people do. Really successful people, they're able to not only have the moments, they're able to not only identify key moments, but they're able to leverage their key moments. So that way they're able to keep on rising, they're able to keep on going, right? In the example I said earlier, where when you are in a space where you can identify your key moments and you're like, okay, that was a hard time for me. And that was a time where I was trying to figure out who was with me. Well, I had Jill who was with me, fake name, but I had people around me that I could lean on during that time. And so someone that is good, someone who's just going to identify that key moment and is able to reflect back and is able to identify certain people or certain things in their solar system that allowed them to persevere and allowed them to be successful and overcome, they're able to use it, right? Successful people are able to use those things to keep going, right? As opposed to just identifying, oh, such and such was nice during that time. Well, who knows when I need to begin, right? Where it's like, no, I'm going to really draw closer to the things, the habits, the mindsets, the lessons that you learn during those times, right? And this doesn't even necessarily apply only to hard times. It doesn't apply to only when things are, just at its worst, but it also really does apply when things are good, because again, you want to chase what works. You always want to go with what works. You want to stick with your guns. You want to stick with your strengths. And so that's the overall benefits of these three key moments. Okay. Your overall benefits when you are able to really reflect back onto these three key moments I'm going to share with you will really, really, I believe, transform your mindset and shift your perspective. That will really allow you to keep going, because you're really stronger than you think. You've been through more and you've overcome. I heard Steve Harvey say this, and I think it's just powerful, and I'm gonna share it with you, where he basically asked, he has a show and he asked everybody in the crowd, who's had a really hard day? Everyone raised their hands. Then he says, who has ever been in a situation where they felt like they were never going to get out? Everyone raised their hands. And then he explains to them saying, well, all of you all's track record is 100% in moments where you feel like you weren't going to be able to make it out. And so it's that confidence when you're able to reflect back on those types of moments and those types of situations where you're like, I am 100% in the things, the situations, the chaos that at one point when I was in it, I didn't think I was going to make it out of, right? And I think about that even in my own life. When I think about certain moments in my life where, money wasn't right, where my mentality wasn't right, and just everything in my life was a mess. Those were when I was in the moment, I didn't see a way out. I was just like, there's no way. Like I didn't even believe it myself. But as I sit here today and I'm doing all that I'm doing, and I think back to those times and I think back to, wow, that was a situation that I really found a way out of, and not even just found a way out of, but by the grace of God, I got out of it, right? Just through, whether it was through God's favor or just, work that I did, whatever the case may be. But I'm here today. I'm here today because of, just again, the grace of God. But I made it through. And that's what I'm able to do because I take the time to reflect back on certain key moments in my life, right? Because it's not about just identifying the key moments. It's about using the key moments. So that way, even today, when I may find myself in a rough spot, whether it be financially, whether it be in my relationship, whether it be, with family, whether it be with business, whatever, in any area, when I already have a track record of overcoming, and because of that track record, I understand that whatever is currently in front of me is not going to defeat me. But I have to have the confidence to use those reminders. I have to have the confidence to use those key moments in my life so that way I can actually go into the situation like I know I'm going to make it out successfully. All right. Now, I'm going to share with you again 3 key moments. And the very first key moment that you have in your life that you can use and that you can leverage, that you can really take advantage of as a great reminder for yourself is your starting point. Okay, your starting point. And the reason why you really always want to have a reminder of your starting point is because you want to stay grateful. You want to stay grateful. And the reason why that's so important is because so often we want to get caught in the rat race of success, right? And the thing with success, like there's a perfect pace to success. If you move too fast, you're only going to burn out. If you move too fast, you probably aren't going to be equipped to handle it, more than likely, right? If you move too slow, you're just going to be frustrated because you feel like you should be further ahead and everything like that. But when you're at that perfect pace, when you have a reminder and an understanding of your starting point and you're just moving at the pace that God has called you to, and you're just moving at your pace, working how you work, right? you're going to be grateful because you understand, okay, today may not look like how I want it to look, but it certainly is a lot better than it did yesterday. And because it looks better than it did yesterday, I have a confidence and I have a purpose to keep moving today. And that is what you're able to have. That's the thought process that you're able to have, the mindset that you're able to have, the mentality that you're able to have when you just identify your starting point, right? And your starting point is not necessarily, when you were born. Your starting point is the point where you decide to launch your business, the point where you decide I'm going to improve my life, the point where you decide I'm going to start going to the gym, the point where you decide I'm going to start being nice to people. Whatever it is, whatever your starting point, it's basically you making the decision to improve. It's you making the decision to personally grow, whatever it may be. Okay. And that starting point is your baseline. Because again, us as humans, we have the ability to improve in anything that we put time, energy, and effort into. And so if you are able to say to yourself, okay, today I'm going to improve at blah, 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 XYZ, fill in the blank, whatever it is for you. And you basically are able to then measure yourself from that starting point. You will put time and energy and effort through your habits, through your solar system and everything like that as you're improving, which will then result in you being able to be grateful because, again, you're going to make progress, right? You're going to make your progress. But if you find yourself feeling as though you're in the rat race and you're getting frustrated with where you are because you're not where you want to be, you're able to just remind yourself of your starting point. And when you remind yourself of your starting point, you will feel grateful because you knew the point that you were at, the person that you were then. And when you compare the person you were then to the person that you are now, you will notice a difference. And that difference will literally get rid of any type of negative emotion that you may be experiencing currently that is basically keeping you stuck. But you need to identify your starting point so that way you can have that level of gratefulness. Okay? So identify your starting point. Now, the number two key moment that does exist in your life is specifically tough moments that you've overcome, right? And I'm talking about like specific moments. Now, you could break this down to a singular moment. You may break this down to a singular conversation. This may even be a season of your life, whatever the case may be. You want to identify just tough moments that you've overcome. Not tough moments where, you're kind of still in it. Like you want to be able to identify moments that you overcame. And this doesn't necessarily need to be anything too deep, but you do want it to be meaningful. You do want it to be a situation that at one point while you were in it, you felt like there's no way out of it. But here you are today having overcome it or having gone through it. Because again, in order for you to be successful, you're going to have to go through some things. That's just the truth of it. But when you are able to identify your tough moment, when you're able to identify tough moments that you overcame, right? Things that you made it out of that you didn't think you were ever going to make it out of, you will then have a confidence that is unbreakable because what your pain does is that it qualifies you. And when your pain is qualified, nobody can take it away from you. The success that you have because of the pain, the cost that you paid for your goal, for your dream, nobody can take it away from you. And it doesn't matter what anybody think because you know what you paid for it. You know the loss that you went through. You know the frustration. You know the anger. You know all the things that you had to overcome in order to be where you are, in order for you to be doing whatever it is that you're doing, in order for you to have all that you're having. But it all starts with you identifying whatever your tough moment is that you overcame. Okay, because again, the benefit of identifying those tough moments that you've overcome is it builds confidence. And even deeper than that, it reminds you of who you are. Because again, who you are, there is greatness already within you. It says it in the Bible. God he knew us before it was formed. It says in Jeremiah 29:11 that he's given us a hope and a future. So we know that we are made in the likeness and image of God, right? So there's greatness within us. God already has great plans for us, right? But because we have things that blind us to that, because we have, fear, we have self-doubt, we have analysis paralysis, all these different things that hinder us from really believing the promise that God has given us, we basically forget who we are. We feel as though, well, this is just how it is, right? But that's not true. But when you're able to identify your key tough moments that you've overcome, you remind yourself, wait a minute, I'm her, I'm him. Like, just, again, the confidence that comes from just being able to identify your key tough moments. Like, I can remember for myself, I was in a dark space for, I would say, about a 2-year span. I had about a 2-year span where I was just depressed. I mean, I was depressed. I was anxious. Just life was not going my way at all. And it was really during this 2-year period where, while I was in it, I didn't see a way out. Like, I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't like in my mind, all right, well, I give it 6 more months and I'll be over it. Like, it was just like darkness. Every single day was a battle. Like, every day I had to like fight myself to even get out of bed. Right. But that was just the space I was in. That was the space I was in. But through, again, just the grace of God, and I thank God for just bringing me out of that time, but just through some of the decisions and my starting point that I had made with a lot of decisions and a lot of different areas in my life, I stand here today. And whenever I find myself entering a space of depression or entering a space of sadness or whatever the case may be, I always have to remind myself of that tough moment that I overcame. I have to remind myself of that because I know that if I was able to make it out of that, one, I was able to identify what put me there in the first place. And again, leveraging the key moment. Once I identified what put me there, I knew what systems, what habits, what thought processes I need to put in place so I never go back there. But again, I'm human. So if I ever find myself sliding back into that space, into that level of thinking where that's not really who I am, I know that I've overcome this. And so again, that brings a level of confidence. So that way, when I do experience it again, or it's starting to creep up on me, I know how to affirm myself and remind myself of who I am and whose I am. So that way I overcome again. And I keep doing that consistently, because anytime you are about to level up, the devil is going to try to get you. That's just a fact. Anytime you are about to move forward in your life, you're going to be hit with an obstacle, because again, your obstacle qualifies you. Your pain qualifies you. But it's up to you to have these type of identifiable key moments that help keep you going, so that way you persevere. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you identify your tough moments that you have overcome, so that way you are able to build your confidence and remind yourself of who you are. Okay. And then the third key moment in your life that does exist that I want you to remind yourself of, key moment, is I want you to remind yourself, and you'll understand this, remind yourself of what's possible. Okay. The current reality that you're living in, at one point you prayed for it. At one point you dreamed about it, right? In whatever area it may be. It may be in the area of your finances. It may be in the area of your emotions. It may be in the area of your mentality. It may be in the area of your friendship, whatever it may be. Whatever you have in your life, at some point or another, you were praying for it and you were hoping for it. You were wishing for it. You were dreaming for it. You had a goal for whatever reality that you're in today. And you need to remind yourself of those key moments when you used to pray for the very things that you have today. And when you're able to remind yourself of those key moments, and you remind yourself of what's possible for your life, right? Like for me, one of my moments that I always that I use as great reminders is like those house tours on YouTube, like those $1 million house tours and stuff like that. Like I was never really into homes like that, but until I went down like the deep dark hole of just like looking at a bunch of house tours and these mansions and stuff like that, I realized, oh, like this is what's possible for homes. Oh, this is possible. Like, you're hearing these numbers on how much these houses cost, and the types of people that are able to buy these homes and stuff like that. Again, for me, and maybe this applies to you, so if you want to go check out some YouTube channels of some great mansions, I would suggest it. It's pretty entertaining. But it reminded me, it allowed me, it was a key moment for me because I was able to see what's possible. I was able to see what's possible for my life as long as I continue to persevere, as long as I continue this path, this journey that I started with my starting point and with overcoming my tough moments. I'm able to remind myself of what's possible, of what I can accomplish moving forward in my life, as long as I do what I need to do today. Okay. And when you remind yourself of what's possible, you will basically keep your faith and your belief in yourself as well as your dream. But you need to be able to identify what's possible. You need to be able to identify key moments in your life where you realized, oh, that's possible. I can do that. I can be that. I can have that. You need to be able to identify those types of moments for yourself and chase those moments, because as long as you keep those moments in your brain, as long as you keep that affirmation of I can do it, I can be it, I can have it, and you keep that going in your mind, you're going to start really believing it, and your faith and your actions and your expectations are going to match it. And when your belief matches your expectation, it's going to lead into your hands, which will lead to the work that you do. Okay. And so that is why you need to be able to identify your key moment when you realized what's possible for your life. And it's a great reminder because, again, it helps keep you looking forward towards the goal, because you can literally create any reality that you want, but you need to make sure that you identify your 3 key moments. The first key moment being your starting point, the second key moment being a tough moment that you overcame, and your third key moment being understanding what is possible for your life. Okay. And I'm telling you, when you identify all these key moments, use them, leverage them, involve them in your everyday. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now. So in order for you to really leverage, right, to really start leveraging these key moments in your life, there's 2 things you need to do. You either need to involve them somehow, some way in your morning routine, right? I have 4 things that I believe make a perfect morning routine. So one of them is affirmations. I believe that if you involve any of these 3 in your, any of these 3 in your mindfulness or your affirmations, that's the second. So there's 2 of them. The first one being mindfulness. Then you have a shocking stimulus. Then you have a physical workout. Then you have affirmations. Those are the 4. But between your mindfulness and your affirmations, if you involve any of these 3 key moments in those 2 moments for yourself, if you involve either your starting point, tough moments you overcame, or understanding what's possible for your life, if you involve those in the mindfulness portion or the affirmations portion of your morning routine, just involve them in your morning routine, in your daily habits, somehow, some way, your foundational habits, involve them, you will be leveraging those key moments, because again, you will be able to execute on a level of gratefulness every single day. You will be able to be reminded of who you are every single day, and you will be able to be reminded of what's possible for your life every single day. Okay. So that's the first way in which you can actually really start leveraging these key moments. And then the second thing you can do is, again, this is all up to you. You decide how you want to do it. But the second thing that you can do is involve these 3 key moments in your solar system. Right. I mentioned earlier about how I would watch these $1 million mansion house tours on YouTube. Right. Now, I'm not saying you just go down the hole and you watch those types of videos or whatever every single day, or, but involve them in your solar system in some way. Like, or maybe you watch 2 videos a week of your dream home, dream car, whatever it is, that, right? If we're talking about reminders, key moments of what's possible for your life, but involve these things, these key moments in your solar system, whether it be you bring it up in conversation with a friend, or, you have those types of conversation with a friend or mentor or coach, whatever it is, or, you listen to a podcast that tells you about what's possible, whatever the case may be. But make sure that you involve these 3 key moments in either your morning routine, your foundational habits, or your solar system. Okay. If you do those 2 things, you will not only be identifying your key moments, but you're going to be leveraging your key moments. You will not only be gaining knowledge, you're going to be using knowledge. And I'm telling you, when you do that, you will literally be light years ahead of other people that are choosing to only have their moments and not identify their key moments or use their key moments. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys for checking out another episode of the Dream Lifestyle Podcast. I hope this was helpful to you. If you got value out of this video, if this was helpful to you and you were able to identify any of these key moments, do me a favor, leave me a comment to let me know what you think of this episode. I'd really love to hear from you, and let me know what some of your key moments are, some of your key takeaways from this episode. So also, if you are the person that you feel stuck and you are trying to make your dreams happen and you are trying to figure out how, you know your what, you know your why, and you're trying to figure out how, this is the place for you. This is the space for you. This is the podcast for you. So be sure to hit subscribe, and even share this episode and share this podcast with other people that you know that have some goals that they're trying to hit. Also, be sure to get a ticket to the Dreamer Symposium that's coming up on December 17th. This is the very first in-person experience. This is going to be so awesome. There's going to be 4 sessions. The first session where we're getting real with our dream. The second session where we are crafting our dream. The third session where we are connecting with our dream. And then the fourth session, we are starting to live our dream. This is going to be an amazing experience. It's going to be all day. Lunch is provided. VIP tickets are still available. So if you're interested in being a part of an experience that will help you get very clear on your goals and help you get clear on your how to your goals, this is a room you need to be in. So if for more information on that, just look in the description, link below. I appreciate you guys again for checking out this episode. Be sure to also check out some past episodes where I talk about, again, everything focused around helping you find your how to your biggest dream. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next week.